All right. So I wanted to obviously make this week's video going over week 2 thoughts going into week 3. And I want to cover a couple of issues really quickly. So a couple of things that need to be addressed with going into week 3 is you should actually start seeing your weight going down again now that week 2 is over and we've added carbs back in. That being said, looking through the game plan for week 3 and week 4, it is a pretty aggressive game plan. So if you look on your macros that we sent you, there'll be no carb day, there'll be low carb day, there'll be deplete minus 20, deplete minus 30. So all those numbers are already done for you. You don't have to do any of the math, any of the minus 20 or minus 30. Just look through your macros and it's all right there for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any of that. That's number one. Number two is the big thing that at least I've noticed is there's been a lot of people who are doing really, really great. But I honestly think that everybody could do a little bit better. And what I'm talking about is your workout intensity. When it comes to workout intensity, the big thing that you have to understand is it's a 30-minute workout, right? So in order for us to get the most benefit out of it, we want it to be high-intensity interval training. So you really, really, really have to push. So once you know, this is the end of week 2 now, so anybody who's new, you guys should feel pretty comfortable with how things work by now, and you should have a general idea of how things are going. So really try to push your effort. Same thing for anybody who has been, doing either the 6-week and they're continuing on, or they're just regular members. Like, really pick up that intensity a little bit, because honestly, I haven't seen many people who are literally like going 100% all in the entire time as hard as they can go. And that's okay, like, you're not comfortable yet. So I want you to understand that this week and next week, your diet is literally optimized for you to burn the most amount of fat. And in order to take advantage of that, you have to really push your effort in the gym. Remember, it is only a half-hour workout. How it works, so how our system works, again, is how many calories are we burning while we're not there, the afterburn effect, right? So we want that heart rate up, we want that core temperature up, we want that breathing up, so that way it takes longer. Your body has to use more calories to calm yourself back down and get yourself back down to neutral. So obviously the harder you push during a workout, the more calories you're going to burn, not only during the workout, but also after, while your body's trying to recover. So keep that in mind. Other than that, though, from looking through the reports, everybody actually did really, really well for the most part. The big thing that I did notice, though, was, and this is where we run into a slippery slope, right? So some people were like, oh, well, like I did this, or I had a couple of cookies, or I had, this on this day, or I was, I had no choice on this day, or whatever. And you still ended up losing a little bit of weight or losing a little bit of inches, and that's great. But I want you to think of it this way. How well could you have done had you not have done that? So every little cheat adds up. And what's going to happen, you're going to notice very quickly, is there's going to be weeks where you're like, well, I didn't do very well this week. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, but I didn't really eat that well either. I cheated a couple times. And remember, everything counts. So especially when we get into these deplete days, these low carb days, these deplete minus 30 days, what we're essentially doing is cycling energy systems and, keeping your calories up, dropping them down, calories up, calories down. That's literally what we're doing. So it's really, really imperative that these last 14 days you do not cheat. Stick to the plan and trust the process. The process works every single time. I've literally never met somebody who the process didn't work for yet. So really stick to the plan and go all out. If you can add an extra workout in this week, awesome. So if you're coming 3 days a week, try to get in 4. If you're coming 40 days a week, great. Maybe try to come in 5. Really try to push the intensity these next 2 weeks, and let's maximize our results. So obviously, I had one. I actually had a couple of reports that were like, well, I expected to see a little bit better result. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you didn't become overweight in 2 weeks, right? If you did, you probably would have noticed. You're not going to get in shape in 2 weeks. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen. So ultimately, what this program that we run is designed to do is to kickstart your metabolism, teach you the fundamentals of healthy eating, and then we have programs set up for you for after the challenge is done, which we'll get into next week. But that's ultimately our goal, is we want this program to kind of jumpstart your health and wellness. So, when people go, oh, well, I've lost, 10 pounds last month, 8 pounds last month, 7 pounds last month, whatever it might be, I lost 10 inches, 12 inches, 8 inches, whatever it might be, that's a pretty big motivator to say, oh man, I did that in a month. If I did this for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, imagine the shape I would be in, and imagine the strength I would have, imagine how healthy I would be from, inside too. So joints, organs, all that stuff, obviously, and brain function, all that stuff works better if you're healthy, right? So imagine where you could be if you stuck to living healthy for, you know, the committing to the long term of this. And that's ultimately what we want. Is our challenge program is great, but it's designed to teach you the basics of a healthy lifestyle. And that's what we're going to talk about more the next 2 weeks moving forward. But this next 2 weeks is really going to be where you burn the most amount of body fat. So really, really, really stick to the process. Matt's game plan for this next 2 weeks is super aggressive. And again, like I said before, you really, 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 really don't want to cheat these 2 weeks, because every little bit adds up. If you have 2 cookies, trust me, that's like 40 grams of carbs. If you have 2 pieces of chocolate, that's like 15, 20 grams of carbs. Add that up over a day and over a week, that's a lot of extra calories, and you're going to screw up the way that we're trying to do things. So really, really focus these next 2 weeks, and I promise you're going to be absolutely astounded with your end result. So keep that in mind. Also, too, remember, every single progress report, include everything, answer every question, copy the form into an email, fill it all out, and send it. It takes 5 minutes, okay? But it gives us a very great picture of exactly how you're doing. Not only do we care about how many inches you've lost, weight you've lost, whatever, but also your mentality, how you did through the week. Did you cheat? Did you not cheat? What are your struggles? How many times did you work out? All of this paints a picture so that every week we can go through and see if, oh, well, I only lost a pound this week. Well, yeah, but you cheated twice. So I'm really not that upset about it, right? So ultimately, I'm not mad if you lost a pound if you cheated twice, right? So, but if you don't include all that information and I can't get a big picture, then I don't know the correct way to respond to all of you. So keep that in mind, because that goes for all the coaches. Is obviously the more information you can give us, the better game plan we can give for you, the better we can make sure that things are working the way that they should be going forward. So really make sure that you're filling those out completely and thoroughly so that we know exactly what's going on. But anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. And obviously we will see you guys next week. Keep kicking butt. We got 14 days left. You're already halfway through. Like, you already made it. So now you're just on the last half of the challenge. Let's kick it into high gear. See you next week.